Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Chris and I've got a little bit of a scattered video for you today. We're going to be talking about the Thypoch 28mm 1.4, the M mount edition. They do make a couple other mounts, but we're going to be talking specifically today about the M mount. As well as I've got a little bit of a film POV part of this video. I'm going to show you some film shots on the M6 as well as some digital shots on the M10R and a little bit of video samples using the Leica SL2S with this lens adapted. And the too long didn't read. Short of this is a fantastic lens, and if you're in the market for a 28mm 1.4, this is probably a very good choice. But let's get into the video now. Also, one more thing, feel free to skip around. There are chapters down below. As I said, it's a little bit scattered, so if you don't feel like watching the entire video, check down there and see if there's something to your liking. I just loaded some Gold 200 into the M6. We're gonna test out the Thypoch 2814 shooting film. So this is gonna have obviously a little bit of digital, a little bit of film, all that stuff. And we'll see how it performs on, not Kodak Gold 200, Color Plus 200. One of my favorite budget films you can get. So let's switch to this and get some shots. There's like the yellow contrast to the, or the orange contrast to the kind of gray blue sky. So I don't know if that shot worked out, but what I love about the 28 is the fact that we had that scene in front of me, as well as I could see that those people were about to walk by, and it would give it a little bit of I'll give you a little bit of kind of what I was thinking about. So I had like the whole scene framed with the two people standing there talking, and I could see out of the corner of my eye that those people were about to walk by. So as they walked by, I let them become part of the foreground elements and give the shot a little more of a feeling of being in the moment. So hopefully it turned out. Definitely mistimed that one. She just looked really good with the ads on the wall. I wanted to get a little bit of like a billboard in the background with her in front, but I just completely mistimed. 1.2. So it's probably a little bit too far away for that shot, but I really like the composition of the person on the side of the building, plus the Dominion building in the background. I'm not sure if that's going to translate well to the final shot, but that's the thought process behind the image. did not record the entire roll. Just sometimes when I'm out, I forget to record because I do actually really enjoy the act of photography, and sometimes the video part comes second. Anyway, here's some video footage of me scanning film, and I shot all of this on the SL2S with the Thypoch 28mm 1.4. And one of the benefits of using the M mount lenses on the L mount system, like the Leicas or whatever adapted lens you're using, is that not only do you get the close focus of the lens, but you also get the close focus of the helicoid. So you're able to get from the minimum focus point of 0.4 even closer to more about like a 0.25 or something like that. So here's some shots using the lens as a video lens. So let's definitely get into some of the pros and cons of this lens. The first pro is that even on a film camera, this lens is insanely sharp. I've never actually had an aspherical lens, but this one is by far the sharpest lens I own. And I own a few Leica lenses. When I looked at the film coming back, I've never seen my film look like this, and that's not an exaggeration. I use a V700 scanner, flatbed scanner, and they're very finicky to get into focus, so any extra actual sharpness is gonna make a massive difference. And this lens on the photos, I mean, you're looking at the photos right now, it's a fantastic performer on the M6. As far as the design of these lenses, they've done just a fantastic job. It's a vintage looking lens, but the optics itself are very far from vintage. They're very modern optics. But if you look on here, you've got a really nice focus tab. It does have the infinity lock. Not sure if you're into that. I don't personally care. So not only does it have the tab, but it also has the scalloping on the lens. This is great for when you're trying to really dial in that focus, you're shooting wide open and you need it to be tack sharp, as well as when you get to the minimum focus area, the throw is so short, and we're gonna talk about that later, but you really need to be able to use the lens for a fine adjustment. They've just really taken care of the design and handling of this lens. Another thing that I greatly appreciate about this series of lenses in particular, so they have the 28, the 35, and now the 50mm, all the 1.4 Samaras, is they all share the same thread size, 49mm thread mount. What this means is that you can use one filter for all three lenses. And on that topic, they all have a minimum focus distance of between 0.4 and 0.45, I believe. On these lenses, there's a little bit of a divot. So once you get to 0.7, there's a tactile drop, and you need to give it a little more force to go past to the 0.4. If you're using a rangefinder like I am, you need to use live view or you need to eyeball it to get the focus at that distance. But this is great for when you just need to get a little bit closer, or you're adapting it to video and you want to have a closer minimum focus. As far as ergonomics go, we talked about it a little bit, but I find the clicks are very clicky, as well as no click at all if you want, because you can declick this aperture, which is great for video shooting. If you need to just fine tune those adjustments as you're recording, it's not going to be like Number 5, the price. At the time of buying this lens was $599 USD, which is just a ridiculous steal of a price for a 28mm 1.4, especially when you look at some of the other options available and the quality of these optics. That's a pretty ridiculous price for a lens of this caliber. Now for some of the cons, because there are a few on this lens, and they're not deal breakers in my opinion, but there's a few things that maybe I would like to see updated in future releases from Thypoch. So the first con is, ironically, one of my favorite things about the design of this lens. I just think in a future version, it could be a little bit better. And that's the distance scale. So on this lens, as opposed to other lenses, when you start to change the aperture, the dots in here light up and you can start to see how much you have in focus. We can talk about zone focusing in another video, but the issue that I have with this is sometimes it's really hard to see. And I zone focus a lot as a street photographer, so I've got to make sure the light is right, and I'm just kind of looking in towards to try and see that red. Maybe if it was a little bit higher or something like that, or a little bit more highlighter paint, it'd be easier to see. It's not a big complaint, but it is something. Number 2, again, it's a plus, but the implementation can sometimes be a little bit of a con. So at the 0.7 mark, your minimum focus distance, there is a divot that kind of locks the lens in place. And when you start to approach that minimum focus, sometimes it can be a little bit jarring because it just naturally wants to grab into that divot. And then when you're beyond 0.7, it starts to use the helicoid to focus in back. So the throw from 0.7 to 0.4 is pretty much 4 millimeters. It's very hard to focus within that range unless you're on a stationary shot. Again, there is some little things that you can do to play around with that, like using the scalping, and you can get way finer adjustments, but just something to be aware of, that focusing within that minimum area between 0.4 and 0.7 can be a little bit difficult. This is a little bit of a superficial one, but there is a silver hood mount on the front of this lens. This is silver on a black lens. Silver on a black lens. Just charge an extra $5 and make it black, please. It's just aesthetically, Voigtlander does this as well. I don't understand. Just get this black. And then the last real con here is there is a slight vignette at 1.4. I don't think it's a big deal. It's 1.4 on a 28. You're bound to get some sort of vignette. It doesn't bother me at all, but if you're wondering, it's there. It doesn't bother me. The bottom line is that this lens is a fantastic choice for anybody who wants a super fast 28mm lens, especially if you're adapting this for video use or you're wanting to use this on other cameras. There's so much versatility packed into this $599 lens that it's a great choice for anyone. And I think the price is just an added bonus. This lens could be $500 more for all I care. It could be double the price, and I still think it would be worth it. And in case you're skeptical, this video is not sponsored in any way by Thypoch. I actually reached out to them to ask for a review unit, and I didn't get any response at all. So you can say that this is a very unbiased review, which it is, because like I said, I bought this with my own money. I've used it with my own time, and I find it to be fantastic, even though they never responded to my emails. So for now, maybe after watching this review, they will send me their 50mm 1.4 to check out and review for you guys, because I think that what excites me most about these lenses is not only how well they perform, but how they work together as a team. You've got the 3 lenses that are pretty much the exact same build design. They're the same thread mounts, so having a few of these would just make everything so easy. You're just switching the focal length and everything else stays the same. So thank you for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please let me know down below, as I'm kind of a little bit on an island in this YouTube channel right now. I'm not really sure which direction I want to take it, but this was a little bit of a chaotic video that maybe would give you an idea of where you think I should take it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on future videos. Peace.